Hi, Mikel.
Hello.
Could we get a fitness update, please?
Well, no big news. Obviously, we have a training session this afternoon. We have to review a few players, but overall, especially returning, nothing to give back.
And a first Champions League game of this campaign at home, how important is that moment?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. This is the kind of nights that we want to experience, we want to have against an unbelievable opponent, and we're just ready for it.
And so far this season, you've had to show so many different types of mentality. 10 men at Manchester City, losing the lead at the weekend and going right to the final whistle to win. How pleased have you been with what the mentality that the team have shown so far?
Yeah, as you said, a very different one. You know, we end up having to play a very different game in the second half against City, and at the end losing 2 points in the last minute. We did completely the opposite, playing a low block like we did against them, and with different challenging, but watching the game back, the amount of things that we generated, so pleased with the team.
Gail from Sky.
Can I just clarify some of those injuries? Ben Wright didn't play on the weekend. Is there a chance he can make it tomorrow night? And also there are unconfirmed reports about Ricardo Calafiori leaving the game in tears after a problem with his knee. Can you sort of dispel those myths or otherwise?
Yeah, those are the two players that are in contention and we have to review today.
But the Calafiori is not a serious injury?
Well, no, we didn't do any training session yesterday. Obviously, it was a bit emotional after the game, and let's see how it is today.
Okay. And for you, PSG was your first professional club. I wonder, you've spoken a little bit about what it did for you. How's it shaped you into the manager that you are, and the manager that will step out at the Emirates tomorrow night?
Well, it was my first professional experience, as you said. It was an unbelievable time that I spent there. I loved every minute of it. I will always be grateful to the club, to Luis Fernandez, because he was the one that believed in me when I was 17, 18 years old, and I played professional football. And from there, yeah, it was a platform to share an experience in a club of that size, in a city that is probably the most beautiful one in Europe, an experience that stays forever, with teammates that helped me and shape, as you mentioned, who I wanted to be as a player, and then as well, I think, igniting something in me to become a manager in the future. And there were some very important individuals in that part of my career.
Yeah, talk to.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
When you went to PSG, you played with some great players there, but they wanted to keep you, but you went back to Barcelona. Can you just tell us what it was like to play with the standard players you played there, and why you didn't stay in France?
Well, unbelievable. Ronaldinho, Anelka, Okocha, Pochettino, Gavi Heinze, all unbelievable players. I wanted to stay there, but I was in that moment owned by Barcelona, and they didn't find an agreement, and then I had to do something else. But I was so happy there, and I wanted to stay there, but at the end I have to do something else. This is football.
Absolutely. And then you came to England. Did you ever get close to going back there as a player?
No. Once I was here, then my career started to develop here, and it's been a few years in then.
And how important, finally, has it been this season to show that you can win games like on Saturday in the last minute in injury time, or other games where you put them to bed much earlier? How good this season is, the different ways you won games?
Well, it shapes, I think, the character and the body of the team, you know, that they have the certainty that they can win in any contest, that they can adapt to very different contexts during matches. The Champions League demands that you can pretend to play against this kind of opposition and dominate 95 minutes. It does not happen at this level, so you have to be really good in other phases as well to stay in the game, to be comfortable there and still have always a belief and intention to win it.
Josh?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Last season at home in the group stage, it was 3 wins, 12 goals, none conceded. What is it about Champions League nights at the Emirates that's so special?
Well, everybody's looking forward to it. We missed it for a number of years, and last year it was the first one after so many years that we had the experience to do it. The group stage is a bit different this season. The opposition we're going to face tomorrow is probably at the highest level that you can find in European football, but honestly it's a great opportunity for us to see how we deal with that night, how prepared we are, and how we can impose ourselves in this kind of context.
Simon?
Mikel, can I just ask you what your memories of of Luis Enrique were when you were at Barcelona, and did you sort of see then that?
I smile on my face. Huge admirer of him. An unbelievable personality, huge charisma, huge energy, very supportive with the young players, always. And what I love about him is that wherever he's been as a player or as a manager, his fingerprints are all over the place. You can sense that that's his team. You can see now PSG, that's his team. The way the players behave, the way they want to attack, they want to dominate games, the spirit, the energy that they have. He has this unbelievable power. He's done it in all the clubs that he's been. He did it with Spain, with the national team. And then his approach to life and his profession, something to really look at, and I learned a lot of things of him.
I mean, how much did he influence you, particularly in the way his management teams, like that Barcelona side he had with Messi, Suarez, Neymar? If you looked at that and see an admiration of some of this.
One word is honesty. It's like this, straightforward. He looks in your eyes, he tells you what he thinks, and I think at the end, players appreciate that. You might like it more or less depending on how it happens, by the way everybody talks. And I have 2 or 3 players here, they've been with him in the national team. They always say the same thing, and they all enjoy playing under him. And when somebody can make you feel like that in your profession, that's a big quality to have.
I think it's just like it helped a lot with being comfortable with the team, with my teammates, getting to know them, obviously for them to get to know me, and I just wanted to stay involved. I was looking them from a distance, from the stands, obviously, and it was amazing to see them. I just wanted to be a part of that, and that feeling I had already last year, and now I'm a part of it. So I'm really grateful to be a part of it.
You've played a lot of Champions League football, not so much for Arsenal, but for Ajax. And I wondered the sort of skills you need on a big Champions League night against a side like PSG. That kind of streetwise now. What messages are you giving to some of the players in your squad that haven't had the opportunities you've had?
I think a lot of players played a lot of big games. Of course, the Champions League is a bit different. I think the games are a bit different, but it's not really different to the big games you have in the Premier League. So a lot of players know. I don't need to tell them how they need to play tomorrow or how they need to prepare for these big games. But obviously, we need to play with a lot of courage and just be who we are and show that tomorrow.
Luis?
Hi, how are you?
Good. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. This is not the PSG with all the big names, massive names it's had in the last few years. Still got some big names, but you just don't, Messi or Neymar. How different do you have to take this challenge to maybe the challenge of playing against this kind of team a year or 2 ago?
I haven't played against them, so it's hard for me to say. In that time where they had those big players that you mentioned, I still think they're a really good team, really well coached, and they have so many good players, like world-class players still. So I don't think we will approach it differently. We just have to be prepared for tomorrow, and really just focus on ourselves as well.
Well, focusing on yourself. Last season, you didn't play, but you were very hands-on, watching and being involved.
Yeah.
This year's going to be looks like being very similar to last year. We're going to go very deep in terms of being title contenders and in this competition as well. How easy is it to be able to produce every 2 or 3 days the kind of performances you need if you're going to win silverware?
I've done it with Ajax, of course, but this is on a whole different level. And I'm just realizing that now because I'm not just playing now. I watched the team what I said from a distance, and they were absolutely they were machines. If I looked at them last year, and we have to be this year the same because our competition, our opponents that want the same thing, are machines as well. We have to be on that level every single time. It's not easy, but I think we have a really good squad, a good staff, and good fans that will push us all the way through.
Alex?
Thank you.
Hi, Jurrien. Just following on from that, Arsenal the last couple of years have turned into title challengers and hopefully wanted to do the same in the Champions League. Is it more of a mental challenge than anything than a physical challenge to keep at that level?
I think both. Physical stuff as well. It's just we played 2 days ago. We all know how many games we have to play. So physical stuff, but mentally it's also really tough. I'm just enjoying it right now because I couldn't play last year, and now I'm playing games, so I'm just enjoying that. That's it, honestly.
Sam?
Hi, we all saw how unlucky you were at the start of last season. And
Yeah.
by complete coincidence, Mikel Arteta's also got injured very early on since joining. Just wondered if you've spoken to him at all or given him any of your experiences from last year of settling in while not being able to play.
To be honest, I think he's doing that really well for himself. He's a great character in the group. He's like I was last year, trying to be with the group a lot. He's doing the same thing, and so I don't really need to help him with that because he's doing it himself already in a perfect way. And we can't wait until we have him in the squad to play for us.
I wanted to ask you as well about your twin brother.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual, two twins who are both top football players.
Yeah.
How close are you still? I think you used to live together in the same room until...
I think now it's 2 years ago that we still slept in the same room. We played each other, and we in the evening we saw each other in the room. It was quite funny, but I think it's just a lot of fun, you know, seeing him. I play tomorrow, and he's playing, I think, on Wednesday. So my family, my mom and brothers are coming tomorrow to London, and then he plays Girona away, I think, and the next morning they will fly to Spain. So it's just a lot of fun, I think, watching him and me play on this level. It's just an honor, I think.
Art?
Hi, first of all, do you prefer Jurrien or Jurrien?
Let's say Jurrien. Like everyone's in England says Jurrien.
I just wanted to ask...
6-goal thriller at the Emirates at 2-2. It didn't feel so thrilling, did it?
No, it didn't, because I think up to that point, even at 90 minutes, I was devastated because I was thinking we was cruising. I don't think we made too many mistakes. Gave away the free kick for the first goal, and that obviously came with deflection. The second goal is out of this world. But it just felt all of a sudden how quickly things can change for you when you're going for what you're going for, and you can maybe take your eye off the ball a little bit. And what Leicester's shown is, even though Leicester have been in their games, they're not a team that you can write off the way they work, but what it shows is that you have to take those chances against anyone. Because those things can happen. You can get a deflected goal, and you can get someone scoring a world-class goal, a worldy goal. So I was a bit worried at 2-2, and I was worried about what the WhatsApp groups. I was afraid of my phone, because if Arsenal drew that game, Jules, if they drew that game, my phone would have blown up, and I wouldn't be able to touch it because people would be finishing me and finishing Arsenal about how poor we are. You haven't got the credibility. You can't do it. So, and then when we scored the 2 goals again, all of that went. But it's horrible. It's really horrible.
The thing is, if you've seen the scoreline afterwards and you had no idea about the goal, about the game, you didn't see any of the 90 or 90 plus actually, you would have no clue that it was actually a very nervy ending to the game for Arsenal. And for long periods, it did look like you and your WhatsApp group were going to catch smoke because it was 2-2, right? It was heartbreak for them in injury time last week, and then absolute delight injury time this week for them.
Oh, when Justin's goal went in, in my head, I was just chuckling to myself. And I was honestly thinking...
so bad.
No. I just couldn't believe
it's
it.
One of those
you don't practice that in training, because you don't... It's one of those that you practice when you finish training, you're just walking in and it might come across, you attempt it.
Yeah.
It's one of the best volleys, outside of the right foot volleys, you'll see from that distance, inside the box, to go in, that you will ever see. That you will ever see. That's how good this volley was. It was how he executed it. When you know something, watch it. The cross is great as well. But watch where he is. He's inside the box. Look at that. That is just magnificent. You just have to take your hat off to that.
It's the way he cuts across it as well. His run still takes
beautiful.
That way.
His body shape and it. Look at it. Absolutely fantastic, especially to beat Raya. Look. And you think to yourself, you know something? We've done hardly anything wrong, and we are now drawing. We could draw this game. We could draw this game. And that is where everything kind of went, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then, thankfully, we saved it. We saved the game.
But for Justin, that's his, what did you say? Hang it in the Louvre?
That's the Louvre, yeah. That's his Mona Lisa, man. He just hang that up. I'd watch that. If that was me scoring that goal, I'd probably watch it at least once a day. At least once a day.
Fair enough.
Talk to me about how good it was, that finish.
You don't get... The ball was perfect because he looks up, so he sees that pass on, but the bodies that are coming at you to still focus on the ball and to cut across it the way he did, and it doesn't even take a little deflection off anybody. It just kind of bends this way in. And Raya's made some fantastic saves over the last 3 games. He was nowhere near that. So that shows you how much of a good a strike it actually was.
This is a right back, by the way.
Yes.
This is not like Sean Wright-Phillips or Ian Wright. You know what I mean? It's you or me.
George, you know the thing is that when we have to remember, like with Justin James and his quality before that terrible injury he had.
Yeah.
You know, he was on the
good.
cusp.
Yeah,
They were calling him up for England, so we know that he's got that pedigree. And even watching him then, he's obviously still getting back to that consistent form. But what he showed in that game, because remember, it was his, you know what I mean, he's great strike. But what he showed in that game is that once he gets it going again, we've got a real proper right back coming through to go with the rest of them. Really, really pleased for him. It's easier to enjoy that goal when your team beat them as well.
Yeah.
You know, if he scores that goal and it ends up 2-2, I'm probably not speaking about Justin James. So I'm not even going to try and I'm not going to try and gloss that up. But because they lost and it was a great goal, it has to get the credit.
And it's the same for him, scoring a goal like that, but not bringing your points to your team.
Yeah, no.
Must be a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, at 2-0 at half-time for Arsenal, they were cruising. And as I said before, if you'd come in and seen 4-2, you would have thought routine win. It was anything but for them. What do you think happened in the second half after that early goal?
I think the break stopped the momentum a little bit, to be fair, and they concede that first goal straight after the break. Where Saliba makes a mistake and a foul on Vardy that he doesn't really have to make. It looked like they're not really ready for that counter-attack at that time. And I think they were just a bit asleep, really. And this is still a young team, to be fair. A team that still needs more control at times in some games, especially at home where they think they're cruising and I think they take it for granted a little bit that the second half will be the same. In the end, if you look at the stats, I think they've got 36 shots, 17 corners. The expected goal is almost 5. So Hamilton had an amazing game in goal for Leicester.
Yeah.
But still, they could have still have dropped 2 points. They were minutes away. So I think they will learn a lot from a game like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to the opening goal, because it was such a significant one. Martinelli hadn't scored since March, and he needed this.
I think he did, and what was happening, you're starting to hear murmurings about him. I think that one of the things that's happened to Martinelli as well, what's really helped him with his form, is Calafiori's form for Arsenal, how he plays now, and how it frees him up. This is not an easy chance as well. For somebody who has really been struggling in the box, he does very well with that one because he just gets in front of it and then he has to lean back a little bit so as he can guide it back down there. And it's a good finish for somebody. Then let's face it, we need Gabriel Martinelli playing well for us with his pace, with his capability of getting in the box and scoring. But it's very difficult for him when he hasn't got that left-sided player that can pop up around him, play with him, somebody he can play off, like how Saka plays off of Ødegaard. So he can get himself in the box. And he scored the goal, which I'm really pleased because people were talking about last, you need to sign a striker, you need to sign... But Martinelli didn't have a good season, and Jesus didn't have a good season. And you can't tell me that if they up their games a little bit, they're probably scoring at least 5 goals each. Arsenal then win the league. So the striker talk is one that I don't take any notice of anymore. What I want is from him is for him to get to this consistency with the players that can activate our left side like our right side's activated. And maybe Calafiori's the man who's just done that for us.
Just looked at the numbers there since Calafiori's debut. That's 2 assists and 1 goal for Martinelli. So what do you see when you see this Calafiori-Martinelli combo?
I think it's like Dad said. I think people are scared of Martinelli. So straight away, if he gets the ball out wide, they double up on him. If Calafiori goes forward, he takes one of them away, and that gives him a chance to either go one-on-one or play those balls inside to get his 1-2s and in behind. But I think his biggest asset for Arsenal is Arsenal can go a little bit more direct. They can play that patient build-up, but if he times his run, as he does quite often, he'll get in behind and stretch the game completely. And all teams need that. I think with City, you've got Haaland. Nobody else really does it. Liverpool, there's 3 of them. They get in behind, and no matter sometimes how much you pass the ball and control the ball, if teams defend really, really well, you need somebody to either dribble past somebody or make that running behind. And Martinelli, I like watching him. He gets me off the edge of the seat. I know things haven't been going well for him, but I like the fact that no matter how many times it doesn't go well, you give him the ball, he will do the same thing again. And that's why he gets that chance and scores that goal, because he keeps going. Some people lose confidence and they'll put themselves in those positions to get the opportunity to build your confidence. He just keeps going, and I love that about him.
Yeah, there was a lot of frustration around him, Jules, and a lot of talk because obviously big chances against Spurs, big chances against Manchester City, and he wasn't able to put those away. And in critical games like that, it will be highlighted.
Yeah, I think he was low on confidence, so he needed a chance at the Tottenham Stadium, on that counter-attack, because we could all see what he was trying to do. It was just too easy in the end for Vicario. But it's getting there. I think the triangle with Rice as well is important because, like Wright was saying, on the right-hand side, you've got Odegaard, Saka and Timber
Ben White.
right back, Ben White. And they're used to that triangle very easily. On the left, it was not, because the position was not so defined. Now, and we saw it against Leicester, a lot of it came from the left as well, with Rice and Calafiori and Martinelli. And that helps everyone, not just Martinelli, but everyone. So, but it felt like a turning point a little bit. Even before that game, his performance against City, I think showed to him as well that he was back to a level near to the one we saw 2 seasons ago where he was outstanding.
Can I say as well with Calafiori, I don't care what anybody says, nobody expected him to be as ready and as, copy and paste as he is now. His touchback would have been interesting to see. He was everywhere. We thought that we were just signing a left side centre half who might be able to play left back. He was in midfield. He was on left wing. He was in centre midfield yesterday. What he brought yesterday, if he continues like that at 22, coming over, people saying, "Oh, people need to settle." He's ready to go, and you can see already that's having a great effect on Martinelli.
Yeah, you actually, on your story, reposted Martinelli's post on Instagram, where he was talking about being relentless and never giving up. And
Absolutely.
I think Arsenal showed that at the end as well.
I think as well, that comes down to, Jules, the last couple of seasons of experiences of how close they've gone. Excuse me, so they know that at this stage of the season how important these points are. Because that's what it always comes back to. You know what I mean? You have to start the season, as you will know, Sean, as you will know as well. We all know, if you've got intentions on winning it, you can't drop any points, especially at home. And if you're away from home and you get the opportunity, you have to beat teams. Yeah. Worst way, you draw. And I think that they're slowly getting it. And if I was Mikel, I'd probably be showing them the way we conceded these goals, the margins, what you have to make sure that you cover to stop these things happening, because that could have easily have gone the other way with this game.
That was quite surprising to me because the Arsenal defence has been so praised, has been the best in the league, and yet 2 weeks in a row now conceding twice. You can understand at City, but this one was quite a surprise.
Go on.
Well, it's always going to be a surprise, but I think the first one, the ball was a good ball, but it takes a slight deflection. Otherwise, that maybe goes wide or Reyes saves it. That's in my opinion. The second one is just, the second one's a special, but Havertz is there, it takes a ricochet, so the chances are it does beat the keeper because of that. Because, Reyes, he's going, and then he kind of comes back the other way, and the second one is a wonder goal. That second goal would most probably beat any goalkeeper in the world. So I wouldn't necessarily say Arsenal's defence still isn't the best defence in the Premier League, but we are in the Premier League, so teams will have chances, and there is that quality and calibre of players that will take those chances. But if you watch them over the course of 90 minutes, especially Saliba, he doesn't, no matter how hard the game is, it's like he doesn't break a sweat. He's the coolest defender I've watched. He's calm, always composed, never really has to sprint that much. His positioning's always great. And if he is out of position, he always kind of gets back, either shepherds it out or cleans up very nicely.
One thing I did see, though, Sean, what was quite worrying is that when that ball did finally come in, Jules, to the position where I thought Jurrien Timber was and Kai Havertz, where he drops back, felt awkward.
Yeah.
I think that's something they'll look back on, Jules, because when you look at it, you see
on the other angle more.
Yeah, if you see on the other angle, where he's taken that header from, I'm not sure where our two main centre halves are. Yeah. But that was the only thing. That was the only thing that I was more worried about.
Could they have been the zonal, Dad? Your centre backs could have been the zonal, and Kai might have been tasked with marking that one person.
You see, where are they? I can't. They're at the back. They're so deep compared to it. And like you say, maybe if they're zonal, the main thing is there's confusion.
True.
That's the thing with me here, and that is what he'll probably look at, because even with Kai, he gets in a position, then he drops back almost like he kept people on side, even if he didn't deflect it. So that doesn't seem to be something that is in the playbook. So that's what you look at, because when you look at the defence, we are the stingiest defence. They are very tough. They don't give away anything. But then you look at the goal, like that goal deflection and then the wonder goal in that particular game, you have to think to yourself, well, that's what can happen. Yeah. No matter how good you are, that can happen.
Yeah, you have to feel for Leicester as well at the end, because they had battled their way back with those 2 goals that we've broken down now and then conceded later on. One of their players involved in it as well. Is it just inevitable that Arsenal are now agents of chaos at corners? And unfortunately, they did give away plenty of corners at the end, and that's how Arsenal scored.
Yeah, I think so, and that pressure must be so relentless once they go back to 2-2 for Arsenal at the Emirates as well. And we talked about the character last season. Remember the Bournemouth win, especially with the Reece Nelson goal, but the Manchester United win. So many wins in the last minutes or added time last season. And again, I think this is the 17th corner for 16th corners. Sorry. Leicester defended quite well, although the pattern was quite similar. It was at the far post like that, and they very often left either Martinelli or Trossard on their own, and eventually they were always going to pay for it. And that's the one they have been lucky because Ndidi's own goal, really.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see. You see, Justin James really goes hard with Gabriel, and to kind of negate Gabriel, but then it's gone over to Trossard. But again, what you've got to look at in that respect is Saka's accuracy. Whether he's floating it in, whether he's putting it over the back. Because you can make all the runs in the world you want, but if the ball's not put in there, like a quarterback, you can make all those plays, and if you don't run in the right play, if the ball's not there, bam, like by the quarterback for you to catch it, to go and make your mark, you're not scoring. And it's the same with Saka. Yeah. His accuracy now on these corners are absolutely fantastic.
OK, well, from one 6-goal thriller, we're going to move on to another, because when we come back, it was the...
Well, it was an extraordinary game because the statistics were so weighted in favour of Arsenal. Arsenal and Tottenham have both had XG of over 4.5 this weekend, which is off the scale. But the reason we love football so much is with 3 minutes to go, it was still 2-2, and all those stats meant nothing because Arsenal were being denied mainly by a goalkeeper. There's something about the Emirates, Karen, where opposing goalkeepers play astonishingly well. Hermansen had 13 saves. Remember David De Gea 14 with the record a few seasons ago for Man United. He was inspired for 94 minutes.
It was unbelievable, and it's one of them where sometimes you come up these type of goalkeepers, you're thinking, oh no, it's going to be one of those days where you're like, I just don't know how we're going to get past him. There's like 3 of them on the line or whatever it is, and it was just that one.
He's like got Mickey Mouse big hands, hasn't he?
He was like a cat, literally, jumping around, diving. It was unbelievable.
Just found a way, didn't he? Just found a way of stopping the ball going past him. It was one of those days that everything was in reach, or he gambled the right way, and it kept them in the game to a certain degree, but
and it's no different to you, an outfield player, is it? That when you start a game well, I know he obviously conceded a couple of goals, but those weren't his fault. That when you start a game well, you begin to feel they can throw anything at me, I'm going to stop it.
Confidence, and then you start to get in their head as well, because the goalkeeper's definitely got in my head. I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of those days.
It's very
Honestly,
true.
I'm
really,
like,
it's very true. Because you start, what happens as well as a goal scorer, you start to change the finish that you would normally do because he's having an absolute worldie.
Yeah. And then this happens in the 94th minute. I mean, you will know by now that Arsenal worked very hard on their set pieces. This was their 17th corner to the back post. And this time the goalkeeper can't do anything about it because Trossard whacks it back towards goal. It hits the inside of Ndidi's leg and goes through the keeper's legs.
I mean, that's lucky. But what Arsenal have got is this mentality now. I know it took them 17, but there is an anxiety now when they have a set piece. There is an anxiety when they have a corner because you're thinking, hey, what are they doing? How do we mark Gabriel and where's the chaos going to come from? And there's definitely like, oh no. So you've got to be so careful to give set pieces away against them because they're just clinical.
It's organised, isn't it? Everything's very well organised. They all know where they've got to be. Trossard was in that position 2 or 3 times before he scored his goal as well with other corners, but they didn't. I mean, the 2 players in front of Trossard, his 2 teammates, they're not gone in that area to head the ball. They've gone in the area to keep the Leicester players away from that far post man. So it's all off the training ground.
And they know if they hit it back hard across goal, that's what can happen.
Correct.
I mean, some days it'll be clear, but some days it'll fall to you. Right, Chris is still with us because Steve Cooper was very unhappy about 2 things. One, he said there was a foul by Saliba on Vardy in the build-up to the first goal. You're going, nothing doing there.
No, not at all, but because it is a potential foul, it was checked by VAR. I think it's just normal contact. I just didn't see a foul in that situation.
And he was very upset that Calafiori wasn't sent off for a second yellow card. We'll get Karen and Dion's views on it there. Now, he says that's a clear yellow card and therefore second yellow. The Italian should have gone. Views?
Can I dispel a myth?
Yes.
That when you're on a yellow card, it doesn't mean that your next foul challenge should be a yellow card. It is a foul. Yeah. It's a careless foul, but it doesn't stop a promising attack because there's an Arsenal player in very close proximity. So, in my opinion, it's just a foul, which was quite rightly punished by the referee, but I don't think it was worthy of a second yellow.
Was it a cynical foul? If it's cynical, is that more likely to get a yellow than just a foul?
I just think he was thinking about tripping him. His leg was there. He was thinking about pulling it away. Just catches him. There's a covering defender. Does it stop a promising attack? No. It's a foul, and no more, in my opinion. But I don't think Karen will agree.
What do you think, Karen?
You're the expert, to be fair. I'll always like...
You didn't say that when you were playing.
No, I would have got a yellow from a response.
I think the point is that a foul isn't automatically a yellow, particularly when you are on a yellow.
I think in my head, and then you clarified it, you're running through and you've got past someone, he's clearly tried to... He's not after the ball, he's after just to stop you. So in my head, that is stopping something, but you're right, there wasn't... But my initial reaction was, he's lucky to be on the pitch there, but if you're saying because of the defender, then I'll go with your expertise.
Is that why he didn't get a yellow then? Because there were players behind him, do you think? Because it's a foul.
Yeah, it is a foul.
And he's done it on purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's not done it by mistake. He's done it on purpose. He stopped him going by drag. He's put his foot out, and then he's thought, I feel the contact, I'll move it now.
I think the thing is, Dion, the next one up is a reckless challenge, which is yellow. I don't think it's reckless. It's careless. It's a foul.
Yep.
Because there's an Arsenal player close by, it doesn't stop that promising attack. And I think he didn't receive a caution.
If there wasn't an Arsenal player close by, would it have been a yellow? Let's say.
Well, then, if there's no Arsenal player there, he's obviously clearly aware, and he's got a chance to drive forward.
Very probably.
The situation.
I think Buonanotte got booked, didn't he, for waving the imaginary?
He did, and that's something we spoke about pre-season to all the clubs, waving the imaginary yellow card, which you saw there, and he was quite rightly cautioned.
Yep.